Hi everyone, I want to talk about a new development for MiSTer FPGA owners who have a CRT television with only composite or S-Video ports. Mike Simone on GitHub has created some work-in-progress cores that natively support S-Video and composite. I briefly spoke about this project on one of my MiSTer news videos, and since I only have a CRT with composite and RF connections, I needed to test these cores out and show you how to set them up. Okay, so let me show you how to first set these cores up. Head over to Mike's GitHub with the link I provided in the description and download the test cores you would like to use. Once you download the cores you want, you can copy the cores to either the _arcade, _computer, or _consoles directly depending on the type of core you're downloading. However, I personally create extra folders for beta and test cores. Here you can see I have folders called Test Arcade and Test Console specifically for any test and beta cores I may download. Okay, I'll now copy the console cores I downloaded into the Test Console directory. If I was copying computer cores, then I would copy them to a new directory that I would call Test Computer, and any arcade cores would be copied into the Test Arcade directory. Now let's configure the MiSTer.ini file. It's located in the media/fat directory. You may want to create a backup of the file before you make any changes to it. If you're using an analog I/O board, look for the VGA scaler setting and make sure it's set to 0. The documentation doesn't mention this for the analog I/O board, but in my case, I also had to set composite sync to 1. The documentation says to only set composite sync to 1 if you're using direct video, but I also had to do that with my analog I/O board. Save the MiSTer.ini file, then on your analog I/O board, you will need to set the sync on green switch to on. It should be labeled SOG on the I/O board. If you're using direct video, then these are the instructions. I'm not using it, so I can't test it out. The configuration requirements are a sync on green circuit. If you don't have a sync on green circuit, then you can wait until Mike releases his adapter with the circuit built in. In the INI settings, YPB/PR equals 0, direct video equals 1, composite sync equals 1, and VGA scaler equals 0. I'll also provide a link to these instructions in the description. Now let's see what cables and adapters you'll need for this and how to plug them together. I provided Amazon affiliate links in the description if you need any of them. First, you'll need a VGA to component cable. You'll also need an S-Video to RCA cable. Depending on the cables you have, you may or may not need RCA couplers. In my case, I do need couplers so I can plug the S-Video adapter to the component cables. Now plug the red component cable to the red cable of the S-Video adapter. Then take the green component cable and plug it to the white S-Video cable. If you're using composite, then you'll also need an S-Video to composite adapter. And in my case, I also need a coupler for the composite adapter. Finally, for composite, you'll need an extra composite RCA cable that plugs from the adapter to the television. Now take the VGA connector of the component cable and plug it into your I/O board's VGA port. Next, if you're using composite, take the composite port on the cable and plug one side of a composite cable to it and the other side to your CRT's composite port. With S-Video, just ignore using the composite adapter and take the S-Video connector and plug it to your CRT's S-Video port. The setup can look a little messy, but just know that Mike Simone is working on an adapter to consolidate everything, and it will also improve the composite image quality. For different cables and other ways of connecting this, you can check out Zest Retro's video or his post on retrorgb.com on using these cores. Check the description for the link. Okay, we now have everything configured, plugged in, and ready to go. Let's now test these cores out. Keep in mind that I'm using composite. You'll get much better image quality with S-Video. There are some image quality issues in the Genesis and Sega CD cores with composite that do not exist with S-Video. I'll show you that later. So I'll turn on my CRT and the MiSTer FPGA. On your CRT, you'll see that your MiSTer booted and the image will be in black and white because the MiSTer OS doesn't support S-Video, but at least you can easily navigate the menus. Now I'll navigate to the folder I created with the test cores. I name my folder Test Console. Run the core you want to play. I'm going to execute the Super NES core. When it's loaded, the core is also in black and white because we still need to enable the S-Video option in the core itself. To do that, bring up the MiSTer menu and set S-Video enabled to yes. You have to do this in every core. And now we get color. Then just load a game and you're set. And here are some recordings so you can see these S-Video cores in action. I'm still learning how to record CRTs and the outputs look much better in person, but hopefully you can get an idea of how things look like. Of course, depending on your television, it can look different. And like I said before, S-Video will look better. But I still like the quality with Composite, probably because my TV is 13 inches and a smaller TV can better hide some of the flaws of Composite. So I'll let you see some gameplay now. Now here's some gameplay of the NES core. And here's the Neo Geo core. Finally, let me show you the Genesis core, and this one has issues with Composite. You might have noticed that you can see a rainbowing effect on the text in the MiSTer menu, compared to how it looks on the other S-Video cores. This rainbowing effect is also present when playing games on the Genesis core. It's more noticeable on some games than others. This issue is not present when using S-Video. Also, you can fix this issue yourself. Zest Retro has described what you'll need to do this on this video. However, it would be best to wait for Mike's adapter because it will include a Luma trap that will clean up the Composite image quality significantly. Just look at how it gets rid of the rainbowing on the Genesis core. Original consoles will actually also use Luma traps too. So there are other S-Video adapters available for MiSTer. These actually convert an RGB signal to S-Video instead of natively outputting Composite through the core. I have an adapter from Antonio Villena, which I've been using for over a year. Let me tell you some of the differences I've noticed between the adapter and the S-Video cores. The Antonio Villena adapter outputs an image that's a little bit brighter. So depending on your TV settings, you may either have to lower its brightness on the adapter or increase the brightness of the native S-Video cores. I do think the S-Video cores show a little bit more detail on the sprites, but the Villena adapter is a little more colorful. On the Villena adapter, there is dot crawl on the edges of graphics, whereas on the native S-Video cores, there is no dot crawl. I'm not sure why my camera is picking up some shakiness in the image, but this shakiness is not there when you're actually seeing this in person. The biggest advantage to the Villena adapter is that it works on the MiSTer menus and all cores that support output to a consumer CRT television. But Mike has been updating more and more cores with this feature, and ultimately, it's preferable to have this feature built into the core themselves. Now I'll show you some more comparisons between the two methods. Do you have a CRT with only S-Video or Composite? Then let me know what you think about these new cores. And if you tried these out, tell me about your experience. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.